he
And
speaks
then,
too much.
yeah, oh my god, what a fucking idiot. I'm not saying Putin is any better, but oh my god, man.
Well, Putin
Like,
doesn't lie.
oh, I mean, he lies a lot.
Maybe I'm
But,
ignorant here.
I mean, Putin said, hey guys, Ukraine here wants to join NATO and fuck us up, so we should fuck them up first. Like, I mean, that's not true.
Why do you think so?
Because there's like no evidence that Ukraine wanted to fuck Russia up.
Okay. Is it true that the Ukrainians have been killing Russians for a number of years now?
Um, no. Like, what do you mean by Russians? Like people who speak Russian, or
Yeah.
like because Ukrainians and Russians are like one one group of people. Like they're very similar.
Yeah. Either speak Russian or call themselves Russians while living in
I mean,
Ukraine.
they were bombing Donbass. Like it's true. Like they bombed Donbass, and Russians were bombing. I don't know, but like the whole issue with Donbass is that Russia created Donbass. You know, if they didn't go into Donbass, then maybe none of this would have happened.
I agree here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you can't just say, "Oh, well, Putin was right and Zelensky is wrong." Like, I think like the truth is in the middle. But what Putin is doing, like, what he's really, I feel it's sad for Russians because he's making people go to war. Like, he's making people conscript, and many young Russians are dying in the like this war.
Oh,
And he promised like,
it's
uh,
one of the biggest current stereotypes. Uh, you don't get jailed if you don't go to war. You don't get jailed because of it.
yeah, I think you have to pay a fine like 1,000 euros or like I don't know how many rubles, like
Let me
fifty
Google it.
thousand rubles. How much do you pay? That's would be interesting.
Well, I don't see any news that anyone got arrested for refusing to go to war.
But they arrest you.
They are arrested, right?
And why aren't you? I mean, are you a student? How did you not go to war?
I didn't serve.
Okay, so what did you do? You went to university.
I didn't serve, and I'm not my blessed because of it.
What do you mean?
People who served are mobilized.
Oh, okay. Why didn't you serve?
I don't want to say.
Okay,
I don't
I
want to
mean,
tell.
it's a health issue,
You're absolutely
probably.
right. Well, you guessed it.
Yeah, I'm from Sweden, and in Sweden you have to serve, but I also didn't serve. But I had like the most bullshit reason not to serve, and it worked.
Which was it?
Oh man, I said Bandscheibenvorfall. Like how your spine has like discs, and I said, oh, my discs like
By the way, like
she
this
did.
Sweden, Finland, and Norway guys, why is your English so insanely perfect? Why are
Hmm.
you so good at it?
Okay, so number one, Swedish and English are actually very similar.
Germanic
Like,
languages.
yeah, but the only difference is that Swedish was does not have a French influence, so because of that, like the grammar is like super similar. And second, we learn English since kindergarten. Like all the time, we have to practice English, English, English. Like every kid in school has to take English for like at least 9 or 10 years. And plus, like the Swedish internet is not very Like there's not a lot of like Swedish things like communities, so we have to. It's not like France where like or Russia has like their own internet, or like China has their own internet. Like Sweden uses American English forums for everything. So
I never thought about this. Yeah, yeah, it makes all the sense
yeah,
in the world that when you Google stuff, you Google it in English.
yeah, and plus like Netflix, like many people study watching Netflix, and that's why most young Swedes like me speak English very good.
Damn, that's insane.
Yeah,
Easy.
but your English is not bad. I don't know how Russians speak.
Russians are super ignorant about English.
I don't know. I think like there's a lot of Moscow people speak good English. I think.
So, the same with Norway and Finland, right?
I don't. I don't know about Finland. I mean, I guess like the Finnish language is it's not Germanic. Like if you know anything about Finnish people, they came from like Urals, like from Russia, and like
Yep.
it's like a weird language. Norway, yes.
Hmm. Yeah, in Russia, most of entertainment is in Russian, and in Sweden, a lot of it in English, right?
I mean, a lot of it in English, but there is like Swedish entertainment too, but it's not like very big. Um, Another thing is like just like English, Swedes have it much easier learning Danish. Like Danish is even easier for Swedish people, but German is like really hard. But who knows? Like right now in Sweden, we have a lot of migrants, and I guess we're gonna have more Ukrainians. So I guess we might, I don't know, speak some, I don't know, fucking Slavic language.
Damn, you're like a genius.
No, I mean, like our country is like not getting better. Like because of the war, we're not getting any fucking thing from Russia because of like the sanctions, and and like there's an inflation, so like shit is expensive, and yeah, I don't know what the government is planning on doing. But the good news is I think Putin might back off because he got out of Kherson. Like I think he lost. Let's be honest, right? Like he was like,
Well, it's a Western propaganda point of view, like very pro-Ukrainian. So there is another opinion. There is another opinion.
yeah, it's like he might come back.
Sure, sure. And it's not like it's well, I'm super ignorant, but I think it's not like one action was made by army. Get out of
Mhm.
Kherson, and that's it. They're always moving, thinking, doing all this military stuff.
But how is it like in Russia right now? Like, is it hard? Like,
It's pretty cool.
oh really? It's like
Yeah.
nothing changed.
Well, tell me if these examples are retarded or shallow. My coffee in the first months of war
Nowhere. Yeah.
got expensive in my internet shop, and this month it's the same price.
You buy coffee on the internet?
I do, yeah.
Why? Why not in the supermarket?
Of some reason, it's much cheaper on the internet.
Seriously?
Yeah,
So is it Amazon?
yeah.
Is it?
We have some internet shop, but not Amazon.
Oh, okay, okay. So where do you live in Russia? Moscow?
Murmansk,
Murmansk.
near Finland.
Oh, in your Finland. Oh,
So was it a dumb example of life in Russia? My coffee price.
no. I mean, I guess like what you're trying to say is that nothing really changed. Like the war didn't affect Russia.
Do you think it's nothing? I'm paying
Like
much
I,
more money for my coffee.
yeah, you said in the beginning, but then it's like
Oh.
became the same
And by the way, like Russia was a poor country and still a poor country. Like
because it's
tens
an oligarchy.
said,
It's an oligarchy. That's why it's poor.
it's a stereotype. This oligarchy corruption argument is a stereotype. Let me tell you about a dozen of X, a 10 of X. A 10 of X, I think it costs as much as in your country, like 140 or something. If we,
Yeah,
but we have much less, help me out, salaries.
um, much less.
Much less is dumb as fuck, right? Our salaries are lower, right?
Oh, salaries. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So yeah, we are poor country, we were poor country, we're still poor country. And my coffee got much expensive, much more expensive.
but why is Russia poor?
I'm not an economist.
Okay, um, but I have a theory, and like
Please
my
do.
theory is that like Russia is like a very good example of when like 1% of the population, or it's not even one, it's like 0.01% of the population has all the wealth. So like um, Abramovich has like I don't know, Nikol Osmanov has something. Everyone has like, and it's only 100 people that have all this wealth, and the poor Russians, like the normal people that have to work, they don't see it. So
Well, yeah, that part is stereotypical. The second part, that we don't see it, that we dumb Russians, that we listen to our
well,
television.
they don't see the money. Like they don't get
Oh,
the money. That's what I mean. But of course they see it, and I think Russians just like I don't know. Like I think like these are Putin's friends, and many Russians like Putin. Like they don't want to get rid of him, and that's why they're like, well, I think this is normal. This is everywhere like that. Or
yeah,
am I wrong?
about this oligarchy and corruption, that's a stereotypical part. I still remember like the conversation with the British guy who tried to argue about corruption that some Russian had a boat. Oh, big boat. Yeah, all of it is such
Yeah,
bullshit. Like, yeah, like
some Russian had a boat.
we're dealing with it. Like the corruption of the 90s, the corruption of 2000, of 2010s, of 2020s, right? It gets lesser and lesser and lesser. So we're learning how to deal with corruption. Like roads are better, stuff is being built. But yeah, it's like it is still a third world
You
country.
know,
Yeah.
I was I was talking with one Russian who was from Moscow. He was super anti-Putin, and he explained to me that like Russia is so poor that there are only like three cities where people live good. It's like Moscow, St. Petersburg, and I think Sochi.
Yeah,
And he said,
another stereotype. There are a lot of rich cities. I don't know, like Kaliningrad. What are the name? What are their names? Like
no,
Nizhny Novgorod. Huh?
yeah, Novosibirsk, like I heard, but like it's usually people in Moscow that like live European or have like good salaries, like that could travel like I don't know to like different countries. Um, but I have to say, I think Russia's not doing very good with corruption. Like, no
Well,
offense.
it's a stereotype that is very hard to rip off from the Western mind because like you don't research this subject,
Oh,
aren't
I
you?
think I do because look, you have a president. Putin. And
And he
I don't
has a
know if I
big
could,
boat, right?
huh?
And he has a big boat, right?
No, no, it's not about the boat. It's the fact that he's been president for like what, 22 years,
It's not a
and
sign of
he's been,
corruption.
well, I mean, it kind of is because look at it this way. Somehow he's always voted, and he changed the constitution to be president for another 20 years.
He's not somehow always voted. People really do like Putin.
Well, do they like the fact that Putin changes the constitution
It
so
is
that
a
he
fact
could
that
be voted again?
it is a fact that Putin changed the constitution. Yeah.
But why? So he could be voted again.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think Russians want to have like the same president for like 50 years because then Putin is not the president, Putin is the king.
Like, does it make sense what you said?
Yeah, it does.
So
Like,
the corruption is less and less. Putin is doing something. Why should we vote him out, or why shouldn't he vote? Why shouldn't be he voted?
well, I don't think you could say that corruption is less and less. I think what happens is that only a few people are corrupt and have most of the money because it's like a concurrence, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who's
And
corrupt?
like, look, all of these people that are corrupt and have the most votes, they all know Putin and they're all Putin's friend. Like, do you know this millionaire Tinkov?
Yep.
This guy has votes too, but he's not Putin's friend. Now he does live in Russia. I think he'll be arrested if he comes back. Oh, do you think I'm wrong?
Are you here?
Yeah. Can
Yeah,
you,
dude, like, this is a very, very less standing stereotype.
but come on, it's not a stereotype.
It's
Like,
not a stereotype. Are you an economist? Are you a specialist in corruption?
I did study economics.
Are you an expert on Russian corruption?
No, I'm not, but I read.
What did you read?
Well, there's like one Swedish specialist who works for the government. I read it, although it's very hard, but I watched a lot of interviews with Navalny, Boris Nemtsov. Um, I don't know, pretty much the news.
Yeah, the news, aka the Western war propaganda.
Hmm. Okay, you talk about this like Western war propaganda, but how come like most of the countries agree with us, like with our Western propaganda, but there's only one country, and Russia has like its own version that no other country has.
Are
Like,
you are
look,
you arguing against a different opinion? Because, like, wait,
yeah, exactly. Like,
Western world. How much is Western world? It's like Europe, America. I don't know, South Korea, Australia.
and yeah,
Is this like many people?
no, but like, look, in the UN, when they voted what different countries thought about the war, like 100 countries were against Russia, and only 6 countries supported Russia.
Sure, people are against the war. Sure.
No, but like the countries that supported Russia were all like dictator countries.
By the way, a little bit turning back, like if you studied it, or if you already said that you studied like from Navalny and Nemtsov,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I don't know, just facts like corruption in 1990s, corruption in
Mhm.
2000s, corruption in 2010s, corruption in 2020s, like some
Yeah.
numbers. That would be being like a little bit less ignorant on the subject.
Well, I don't like sure like corruption in the 90s was a lot because the Soviet Union stopped existing. 2000s it was getting maybe better. Like oil was cheap, but like inflation in Russia is apparently also bad. Like I don't think that Putin has really good economic methods for solving it.
Like Russia's corruption is the thing that you're going to hold for your dear lives. Like it's one of your main arguments against Russia, and I'm asking for like numbers or something, for some info.
Okay, well look. Okay, I have like some info. 2018, they were the Russian elections, and Navalny wanted to participate, or I think it was 2017, and he got support. Like over 1,500,000 Russians were ready to support him, but he still wasn't allowed to run for president. Like instead, people who ran for president were not very known politicians, people, and it happens a lot that opposition in Russia doesn't face Putin. So, I mean, that's a good example of corruption.
Mm-mm.
Why not?
Yeah, Navalny stuff, Nemtsov stuff is dumb. People don't like them. By the way, how do you define corruption?
Well, corruption is like when it's like a system where a few people have power and they profit from this power. And
Yeah, Putin doesn't
they,
profit from it.
well, I mean, he has a mansion.
Damn.
He has a mansion and
He has a big
houses in Europe.
house.
No, it's not a big house.
Residence. He has a
Oh,
residence, a
yeah,
palace.
exactly. He has a palace
Oh, he has
with
a
a hockey
palace inside
stadium.
of Russia. So, according to Navalny, like, it's his personal palace. By the
Well,
way, is it?
according to like journalists.
I think even Navalny didn't lie like that. That was his personal residence. Do you understand that presidents have to have residences?
Yeah, but this residence is near Sochi and it's super big, and he's been building it since 2005, and it costs like $2 billion. Like
Two
that's like a
trillion. You kind of fuck
yeah,
up here.
something like that.
Yeah. So he has a
Like
big house.
yeah, well, what other president has a big house like that?
Bro, you come from like being an expert on in economics to having a premise of a big house as a corruption,
Well,
big
look at
boat. The
no,
other
that's
retard
not the
was
thing.
telling me something about someone has a big boat, like Russian patriarch Kirill has a big boat. Wow.
Well, look, Putin makes like $200,000 per year. Like, how come he has the money to
Residences.
build a
Do you know
big
what
house?
presidential residences are?
But this is not a presidential residence. This is a private residence.
It was personal house. You know it how?
Well, Navalny like did an investigation and they looked at the documents, and this
Wow.
house belongs to his cousin.
Yeah,
Like,
Navalny stuff is all bullshit. Damn, you really came from. Jesus Christ. He skipped. He skipped. Like
It's okay, man.
this is one of the stupidest fucking arguments, the corruption. And this English corruption article about Russia, wow. it is just butthurt, one big butthurt. Like give me some numbers. What happened in the 90s? Then give me what happened in the 20s, 2010s, 2020s. Like what's the dynamics of corruption? Like this Swedish guy really got from fucking I studied economy to a big house. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, this is one of their main arguments against Russia, and they're bullshitting right through it. Like they don't know shit what's going on. Like here's the Russian article. It seems bigger and less butthurt about corruption in Russia. And why they're so butthurt? Because corruption becomes less and less. Damn. I think it's a super it's going to be a super boring video about like the shit that I discuss on the Megal. This is incredible. Oh, I studied economy. The house is big. Oh, the house is big. I'm saying, like, that's not his personal house. If, like, I don't know, what is this shit? Like, who said it that it is something? It is something Putin's. Oh, Navalny said so. Yeah, you're a big economy expert, my dude. Navalny and Nemtsov, sure. There are two of your experts. Do you know about Navalny's expertise? Know about his education? Yeah, he's a real educated guy. Yeah, and where's the fucking numbers? Like, he really went full retarded. Like, if Russia is corrupted, sure, okay. But give me some numbers. What's the dynamics?